stick quite like I don't know if that one's gonna stick like Spirit stuck with Soul. Just me? I don't know. Okay, I mean, yeah, Vanya renames himself to Ratata. That is news I didn't think I would read today. As in the top right-hand side of the map, our blue Zerg player from eSports is Serral. Bottom left, our red Protoss is going to be Team Liquid's Harstem, and Cyril gets his first match of the day. Harstem obviously had to get through mana to be here. Let's see what happens in a little bit of PvZ action. As he get this ready to go. Why would you randomize the rest? Mate, it's a Chinese tournament. Usually the Chinese tournaments don't seed anybody. Or the Chinese tournaments usually just seed like the best players so that they don't meet each other in the early rounds. But then which is kind of what they do here, but they don't usually, they used to just not seed, but they actually did seed. But they didn't seed, they just dragged people around the bracket. So the numbers were meaningless, but the idea was the same, where the top 4 8 players would be designed to only meet in the later rounds. But in the early rounds, anyone could meet anyone, so that you actually have really good matches from the first rounds. It happened every week in the Kung Fu Cup. And sometimes they even basically made it so like the 2 players that would meet in the semifinals would play in like round 1. And that sounds really dumb, but it meant you had a really good matchup right away. And then you just have good matchups all day, rather than going through like oh, here's a not so good matchup, and now here's a better matchup, and now here's the best matchup. You'd have, here's one of the best matchups, and then some good matchups, and then another best matchup, and then the finals. It's dumb, but it's dumb, but to be honest, I'm kind of down with it. Like, I mean, as a caster, it's fun. You get to cast great games. As a player, it probably sucks dick, but what are you gonna do? I mean, yeah, it's dumb for sure, but like, I'm pretty sure that's the logic behind it. Now, that would obviously work to some extent, but what I don't understand for this tournament is why they would do it, because they're not even casting this qualifier. They're literally not even casting this qualifier. It's only us casting this qualifier and like some other community streams. So then I don't know why they do it, unless they just wanted to give us the best cast possible. I don't know. Void Ray gets rid of the Overlord. As you see our pylon on the way up, third Nexus dropping, third hatchery, sorry, dropping down, but the third Nexus is not going to be far behind. So just getting that up and running at the moment. As we work our way through the early stages of this ZvP. Nothing too crazy to begin with. I just want to be clear, guys, on the seeding discussion. I really don't think it's necessarily fair in this scenario, but I mean, for the effort it takes to seed the rest of the games, etc., and for this kind of qualifier, I don't think this should be the case. For the Kung Fu Cup, I thought it was okay, because he basically just brought, like, a semi-final forward, and it's like, you know, one guy misses out on $50, but then they don't have to play the whole... You know, it's like, it was never perfect, but I could understand why. In this scenario, I don't think it should ever happen. I'm just giving you my reason, or what I've experienced with Chinese events and stuff before. But at the end of the day, you're basically just trying to get a better seed so you can avoid Serral for longer. At some point in this qualifier, you're probably going to have to play against him anyway, so... Or someone to his level. There's a couple drones go down, but that's a dead Oracle. I mean, Harstem, that ain't gonna cut it, mate. You're playing against Serral here. You know, this guy, he ain't quite a Maru. You know, I know you took down Maru. He's a little bit beyond Maru, I would say, at this point. He's going to have to play a little bit better than losing your Oracle to a Spore Crawl. That's a rough opening as we go double Stargate. Void Rays, and we get ready for some Sky Toss, as Harstem is happy to try and play some of the later game setup here. We'll see what Serral wants to do about that. As for now, just droning and droning and droning. And is just kind of letting Harstem do as he wishes. Is not going to look to punish him too heavily or try and kill anything off or anything like that right away, it would seem. He's going to have our +1 air weapons is coming through as well. Again, that's kind of the expectation here. The robo facility for the disruptors, so you can deal with some of the ground attacks more easily. As that missile upgrade comes up, our roach speed gets going. And yeah, a couple of Void Rays, the air weapons, all of this continues through as this Void Ray does get pushed away over to the right-hand side. And the other couple of Void Rays coming back down through the center of the map. We have one more Void Ray out over to the left, and just going to be seeing a couple of gateways. A Robo Bay coming through again. The expectations here are pretty much just being met. And Harstem's just going to be playing against Serral. He's going straight to Infestation Pit. Will probably be looking toward his Hive Tech and is happy to just play into this longer game right now. Which has got to be a little bit terrifying. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll just play you late game. And Harstem's like, shit. And if I'm Harstem, I'm maybe hoping that he does some sort of early attack. I hold it well, I can counterattack. Playing against Serral in the late game is going to be pretty rough. So we'll see what Harstem does as he gets Twilight Council, Fleet Peak, and he really is going for a little bit of everything at the moment. Queen show up, just pushing the Void Rays back a little bit. It's just going to be seeing our, Void's just trying to find an opening, not finding much yet. Serral actually did cut workers at 66, so not actually using the Infestation Pit yet. Looks as though we might see something of a Queen Roach timing on the +1 missiles and Roach speed, and that's not going to be good for Harstem if he's losing a Void Ray already, as we kill the Overseer, but that's replaceable. Pulling back down the bottom side, and just going to be seeing, here we go, with the Queen Walk Roach Ravager Ling coming along with it as well. As we get to the front. Working our way through the rocks, so just picking away at this right now, just opening up the ramp a little bit. A few Void Rays coming forward, they're going to take down this Overseer. Transfusion comes through, first Disruptor shot is beautiful onto a chunk of Ravagers. The Infestation Pit to me was really a bit of a bait, right? Like, really was like a... You know, he sets this Infestation Pit up and never goes into it. Harstem never scouted either. Well, plenty of Queens still. Disruptors will be waiting to charge up and go again, as obviously we've got our first couple carriers on the way too. I mean, if you can get those out, brilliant. Problem is, carriers take a long time to build, and there's going to be a situation here where you're just not going to be able to keep enough Interceptors alive, I'm pretty sure. And that's probably going to be the issue, as another Disruptor shot fires. 2 Ravagers go down, the Queens on either side get hit. Gonna see our Void Rays activating, going after those Queens. Cannons being picked away at here, a couple of pylons as well, shutting down a lot of the reinforcement potential. As we do see another Disruptor shot, and the Queen's in some trouble, as they have to pull back just slightly. Serral is now on his way to Hive, by the way, so he is putting that Infestation Pit to use on the follow-up. Still just off 65 workers, though. Another Disruptor shot hits a Ravager. Probes are going down in that mineral line. That's obviously going to start being really painful as well. I'm surprised he didn't just manage to quite finish off that pylon, because again, I think just the idea of shutting down the production was good. Just didn't quite manage to make it happen as Disruptor shot fires. Oh my goodness, hits... The hit out hits 6 Queens? How does one Disruptor shot hit 6 Queens? They must have been in a perfect circle. As they are low HP, there's not enough transfusions anymore. 4 more get blown up. Harstem is going to hold. He's been building probes throughout this, so he is rebuilding the workers he's been losing, and he's coming out of this on a carrier count. Serral is, yeah, absolutely going to need to have the Hive and the Spire here to start dealing with this attack. As Harstem definitely has some counter-attacking potential here, especially if he gets a couple more carries and just goes. Just going to be seeing Archon morphing in to the center here. Just going to be seeing Infestors coming up, a couple of Vipers coming through, and a few additional Queens all coming along as well. Going to be pushing through. Just going to be seeing a lot of this group spread being cleaned out, as you just have, I mean, Serral is onto Infestors and Vipers. Harstem's going to be scared to attack in. I do feel like it's not a terrible idea to attack, though. Queen Roach Ravager around the right side, just going to see the army of Harstem moving along. Smoke all going down, just going to see these roaches in a little bit of trouble. 6, 7, 8 probes all going down. Microbial Shroud's dropping here. That's definitely the fear for Harstem, that he has to fight into Microbials and then he just can't do enough damage with the army that he has. Serral is going to get up to a greater spire and he's going to be able to get into more Broodlords. Man, Serral just so seamlessly transitioned out of this entire attack, which didn't look great for him at the end, right? It felt as though Harstem had some good numbers and stuff. I feel like Harstem just had to pull the trigger and go instantly. He kind of waited, and by waiting, it feels like Serral's just transitioned through and is starting to look good. I'm going to hatch you up on the top side. Moving down the bottom, Zilla being chased away. Game's gonna settle down because Harstem obviously just wants to back it up and to chill out for a few moments here, and that's exactly what he will do. He needs more preparation to start fighting against the Serral army, and of course Serral's not in any rush to move across the map and to fight either, so chill out a little bit. Let's gonna see the Roach Ravager coming through again, pushing through the center of the map again. Sorry guys, excuse the doorbell. There's that hallucination around the top. After Zealot's gonna get going, and Roach is gonna try and connect in. A couple of these Archons being picked away at. Sentry as well going down. Nice little catch from Serral here, just with a couple of units out the front, just boom. Pretty serious unit losses there. Single Zealot goes in, drone gets picked off. This army just coming through away through that bottom right hand side, so just making a little bit of a move. Spores getting set up here, as you do see the Roach Ravager coming back along the right. The ship is on the way in as well. Just gonna see that +3 air weapons all continuing to come on up right now. Continuing out down the south side, just gonna see a couple of these carriers picking their way through the creep spread and getting rid of a lot of that creep, as we do see the Roach Ravager coming down. Pounds and cannons being picked off. High Templar gets taken down as well. Nexus gonna be cancelled. Serral's getting so much done with this little Roach Ravager force. I mean, Harstem just has so much joined up together, all for one big fight. Gonna try and take that. Disruptor's trying to reach, will get a few queens. I mean, obviously that's great and all, but they are also replaceable. Is Serral still in a low economy, by the way? He's been playing this entire time off like 60 to 70-ish workers. It's been a little bit above that at points. But around that kind of marker, so his drone count really just has not been great this game. He doesn't have a lot of a bank or anything behind this. There's a cyber core cutting backwards. I'm just going to burrow these roaches to try and cause a little bit more chaos and confusion here for as long as possible. Harstem's actually going to rotate to the top side, where there is not a lot of preparation when it comes to static defense, etc. The fungal growth is going to miss. These roaches on burrow and they come back in. I don't think Harstem realized that these roaches had snuck on by or burrowed up and gotten out of trouble. The little Void Ray squad continue to move away. This time I think these roaches are probably just going to have to try and make a run for it or just trade as they go. Got 8 probes though, forced to recall back home, gives Serral even more time to get set up in all of this as well. As a Disruptor gets caught also, oh my goodness. Serral's just finding so many good trades out and about on the map. It's kind of crazy how much he's able to get done just, like I say, around the map at the moment. Let's see now, kind of Infestor, Queen, and Broodlord kind of setting up at the front here and just hanging out for a few moments. Lings do wrap around a Zealot, just going to be seeing the army of Harstem moving around the upper left-hand side. So back to where he was, Lings are going to counterattack this bottom base, and there's no stack defense here yet, so the timing is really good from Serral. It's going to be a Zealot run by. The Lings do not have melee upgrades. They do have Adrenal, and right now Adrenal is getting the job done. Melee upgrades or not, they're going to deal with these Zealots, and that means this base will continue to be under fire. Over here, Broodlings are chasing away High Templar. They're going to get... Oh, not quite the one. No, this last Broodling is going to get the High Templar. Fordray's over here activating. The Corruptors don't really want to be fighting that as they are at the moment. That was not brilliant, as another round of Zealots finally is going to clean this out. 9 probes went down. Again, Harstem not able to find a way into attack. And Serral continuing to get into what seems to be like a better and better position here as time is passing by. Disruptors from afar, not quite going to connect just yet. Storm on the Ram just going to grab a bunch of those changelings as we continue away to the bottom side. Harstem pulling his army out down to the south. And that mothership of Harstem flying around the upper left as well. Corruptors want to go through. They want to try and grab it as it does just about manage to recall away. 4 new Stargates as Harstem wants to set up to make sure he's got the rebuild if necessary. Better get that production up now than later. Needs to just get rid of a couple spores. Lings are so good this game at the moment for Serral. He's had so many just really effective counterattacks. Pretty much throughout so far. It is just continuing as we go and grab this Nexus kill. Yeah, the run-bys have really been great. 2 probes going down, this army of Harstem settling in the center. Has always been on this kind of upper edge and kind of lurking for a fight, but never really wanting to commit. He's going to get some Tempest now, which might allow him to kind of chip away at this over time. Be kind of cool. Something to watch out for and get excited about. Things run down the south. A few Zealots get here, and the Banes showing up. They're just going to crash into a couple of those Zealots right away. Continue to surround and doing well as that carrier Archon army gets ready to roll as well. Additional Tempest coming up, +3 air weapons coming through, the +3 attack upgrades coming in. It's going to see the additional Banelings morphing now into the right-hand side. Guys, I see some dumbass takes in the chat about best tank in the world can't beat a Protoss and all this nonsense. You know, maybe if Serral didn't commit to a big Queen Walk that got defended on 66 drones, he wouldn't be on a 65 drone economy 20 minutes into the game and constantly, you know, never having a bank to really play with until now. Maybe the way he played literally set him up into a late game. Maybe he wasn't just magically ahead because he's Serral. So let's just stop being dumb and let's just chill out and enjoy the game. Serral isn't some unbeatable god. I know some of you like to think that. Harstem is actually kind of good at StarCraft 2 as well. You can't just keep on ignoring how the game goes. Otherwise, it's pointless watching StarCraft. You may as well watch a, a blank piece of paper and be like, "Oh my god, Zerg just can't end the game against Protoss." Ah! This blank piece of paper is showing me exactly that all the way through. So much information. Let's chill out, guys. Otherwise, I'm just going to ban people. And you know what, guys? If you get banned now, you get unfollowed from the channel. Then you won't be able to find your way back. Uh-oh. Yeah. Then you'll be in trouble, right? Banes crash through and 10, 11 probes going in. Getting picked off. That's a fair few losses as we're going to move our way back around the right-hand side. Broodlings firing. Making their way forward as Serral Looking for an option, is just going to find a little abduct in with the Tempest. Just going to be seeing our probes obviously denied that. Nice attack from Serral. And again, just keeping Harstem on the 5 bases in total. And taking a more forward position now with these Spore Crawlers as well. Just means he can kind of stick around and, you know, find some of the abducts like the one he just found. You know, he couldn't find those moments before because he sat back as, you know, much more defensively. It's not quite the case this time, as a few probes are going to drop. This Nexus on the bottom side being picked away at. Oh no. That was going to be sad. 5-5 template, but at least you get the Archon morph. So that's something. A few Banes crashing into some stack defense. It's probably one of the lesser run-bys of Serral. He still finds an Archon as well. Back around the top, Corruptor and Faster Brood coming around. Well, that Brutal is going to be kind of necessary in this fight, as you do see the Fungals dropping. This fight's going to break out. Right now, Serral dodging away from a lot of those initial Disruptor shots, as Harstem coming through. His army is so much stronger as he comes all the way through this. He's just going to be able to pick his way through this army of Serral, and Serral is dropping in supply significantly. Just going to push our way through this. Queen's going to get in trouble. This Ultralisk is going to die. I mean, there's just not enough here from Serral. He is rebuilding 12 Corruptors and 6 Ultras. Is that going to be enough, though? I actually think that you just kind of lose out too much right here and now, Harstem. Let's start backing up a moment or two. He has not got full interceptors, but he's still got a reasonable amount. As the Spore Crawlers are probably going to make this more questionable than anything else. We'll abduct in. Mothership will go down. Makes it just a little easier to engage this army. As Serral, spellcaster-wise, he's got 2 Vipers remaining, but no Infestors left after that previous fight, as we're now going to take the fight away from the Spores. Well, a lot of these Ultras on the ground will do well, and that means there's not really much ground support that's going to be left alive for Harstem coming out of this fight. Now Serral moves in, looking to try and engage. There's not really a good answer to these Corruptors anymore, because it's just Tempest Carrier. There are no Void Rays in the army, so the air army of Harstem is dropping. Oh man, and Serral looked as though he was in some serious trouble. It looked like his army wasn't looking good. And then just obviously comes through with the reinforcements and top right, Blue Zerg player from eSports. This is going to be Serral. Bottom left. And Red Protoss from Team Liquid is Harstem. Yeah, I honestly felt like he had a good chance in that game. I wonder if he could have pulled the trigger sooner after the initial Serral attack. And I also wonder if at the end there, back away, maybe get a bit more ground army up and then go again. But it's tough because he was losing so many probes throughout the game. So you're not really set up to really rebuild as Harstem. It was very much so one army that had to do everything. And so it just gets the right composition back up. The Corruptors obviously able to just wipe the floor with the air army when there's not enough support against Corruptors, so just moving around in the bottom side. We're just going to see our Overlord moving around a little bit. Excuse me. Sorry. So a couple links coming around, and a culling speed is on the way up. Pretty standard so far. To get this going. How's the food, Wardy? Food's good. It is cost. It's a Costco sushi platter. It's cheap and it's good. It's actually like probably the best, like I say, like supermarket sushi, but it's like it's genuinely really good. Wardy, what's your favorite sport? StarCraft 2. It's this really fun game. 2 players pick from up to 3 races. You can play Terran, Zerg, or Protoss. And basically you start out with some workers that mine money and a base. And you just build up and you try and defeat the other guy. It's really interesting. Very unique. You should check it out. Void Raider stop. Gonna start a bit of a move out here, just getting going. Gonna come through and zap down the Overlord. That's gonna go down right away. Void Raider is going to go up the left-hand side. Just getting ourselves set up here. It looks as though Harstem's second Void already built, and we are very aware that he's just going to play double Stargate Void again, right? I do believe. Don't think there's anything overly surprising about that at first sight or so. Oracle moving around, coming into the center. Heading back down that bottom right-hand corner. I'm just going to be seeing the lair on the way up from Serral. A few drones on the way. The Queen coming up. Again, this up and running. Now, it's actually not a second Stargate, so he's just going to keep building the Void Rays off 1. Now he's going to add a second. So Forge, second Stargate. Okay. I just was starting to wonder, because it felt as though it was starting to get a little late for it, but all good. Well, Queen's just going to push that Oracle away. A few more Queens into the center as we drop down a hatchery in the center. It's just getting that bases set up. We'll see where Cyril wants to take it this time around. At the moment, still just droning, dropping an Evo. We'll see. I feel like this map's kind of hard to Queen walk on. You got to get all the way down like here, and you can kind of go like... He feels very choked up to go from 3rd to natural. I don't know, I feel like looking at the map, I feel like it doesn't look as though it should work for Queen Walks, but then I've seen many a game where Queen Walks don't look great. As Harstem just turned and killed the critter midway through killing an Overlord. That's new. Wow, critter. I thought Harstem was a fan of all the critters, and here he is just murdering them. Harstem, hello? Sport pertains to any form of competitive physical activity. Yeah, I mean, StarCraft 2, you have to move your mouse and your keyboard hand really quickly. You have to be, like, super quick and, like, super athletic in your fingers and your wrists. There's a competition of speed a lot of the time. Like I said, best sport on the planet. Things going to make their way out down the bottom side, so heading across, so we do see a few devs moving into the middle, and the Void Rays coming around the right. Oracle activates, and a few lings being picked away at, so it'll take some damage. It's going to get chased away out into the center. Well, drone's going down. Muta's on the way from Serral, so Muta's melee upgrades. I kind of like it. I mean, it's different for sure. Let's see what these mutas can get done is... Lings are going to come across the map and work their way through these rocks. Are the queens coming across the map for the 4th base, or what's this going to be? The Oracle seeing the mutas, and so now it looks like we're going to continue with a couple of carriers that are building, but we'll want to get Phoenix up after this, as the mutas initially going to try and avoid those Void Rays. Just come down, just going to pick away a couple of probes going down as well. The Lings have a surround over here, so obviously the mutas acting as a way to kind of bait units away from this position. Now you're going to have these queens here as well, and they are going to start putting some damage out. The mutas still fairly, overall not really achieving a lot, right? They've been pretty passive here, to be fair. Just going to see our Ling Queen working their way through this Nexus, and that will go down. So this Nexus falls, and as the Nexus falls, the mutas dive up into the main base, where they're going to get a few more probe kills. And the mutas getting a few more probes while the Phoenix and the Void Rays come in. After this, the Lings come through to grab an Assimilator. I'm just going to be seeing Serral content with the 4th base kill. Going to go Corruptors now. Yeah, he's already sending Ling Roach around the right-hand side. So just playing a very aggressive game, Serral. Just units here, units there. First, the mutas drawing units out of position. Now the Roach Ling going to try and deal some damage. 8 more Corruptors on the way. The +1 flyer attack carapace is... sorry, the flyer attack carapace. The flyer carapace is coming through. The flyer attack carapace, guys. Yes, it's 2 upgrades in 1. It's the new Zerg meta. You just get both your upgrades for the price of 1. Balanced, right? Ling Roach back up to the top. It's just going to be seeing our few probes going down, just again canceling this 4th base and try and keep Harstem off of this economy as we head into our Corruptors and our Greater Spire. Serral's got another attack here. He's maxed out, and he looks as though he wants to take advantage of the fact there's no stacked defense on this base. Obviously, you would still like to, defend this base as Harstem, so having a fight with no stacked defense is not going to be fun. I feel like there isn't actually enough necessary Void Rays and so on here. We are going to see a cannon finishing up, so it's getting a little bit better here perhaps for Harstem as he loses 1 pylon. There's another still up. Disruptor shot hits a Zealot, and I think maybe a Roach, but it was very close to not being anything else and just killing his own Zealot. Greater Spire is still coming through. Just going to be seeing these few mutas down here. At this point, the mutas not great. They kind of want to be traded out to some extent. I mean, it looks like he wants to keep them to try and do a bit more damage, but as time goes by, you're losing some mutas and you're absolutely, putting them into better things. So that's what's kind of just happening as, like I say, time goes by here. He's back up to the top, and our Archon Void Ray carrier coming back around. 6 Broodlords all building, the Spires on the way in the back of this natural as well. Just seeing this army of Harstem. A little bit of a journey around. Just trying to figure out what's going on, where he wants to be. Harstem does have a push coming. Now, his push is kind of very ground-focused. There's only 6 Voids and 2 carriers up in the sky. So, Cyril already has Broodlords, so in that regard, it's not like he's overbuilt on Corruptors either. So I like that. Obviously, he still has the Mutalisk as well, and for the moment, they're going to shut down a little Zealot run by, so that's neat. Still getting some value out of those mutas. I really thought they'd be kind of thrown away a little bit more by now and, traded out for other things. Orcs got picked off as we move through. A Queen being picked off as well. Spore Crawler going down, and now these Archons continuing through. Disruptor shots will fire, and the Queen's taking some hit as the Broods continue through this, and that's going to be the Disruptors being chased away. On the top side, as Zealot's going to make their way into this mineral line, just going to go after these few drones. That's just going to be 11 drones going down already as the Muta's sitting overhead. Going to get an Archon here. On the bottom, these Void Rays coming through and those Roaches being chased away as well. 19, 20 drones all going down from Serral. And he's got another Roach. I mean, 22 drones now dead. So Harstem doing some serious damage. And Serral down to 61 workers. I mean, he's not going to have a huge bank for a little while. He's got a little bit of bank to work with. He's rebuilding drones right now as Harstem just spams out the batteries, getting this base established once more. More Stargates and more Tempests all building as we just have ourselves the group of meters on the left side going to move in, and they are going to go after a chunk of these probes. So a good few probes currently going down. 8, 9, 10 workers all being picked off. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 dead probies as our Archons will move out to that right-hand side. There's going to be a Phoenix here, which is slowly cleaning this up. I mean, that's a lot of probe damage in the end. I mean, Harstem not exactly on the huge bank either, so they're both ending up rebuilding workers after the previous attack. A little bit of Ling Bane off over here. And the Prism goes down, so the meter's still being useful here, 14 minutes deep into the game. As Harstem gets himself Storm and Tectonic Destabilizer, so getting that Tempest upgrade, more damage to the ground structures. That's obviously a good one to have if you want to start breaking through Spore lines, etc. And that's the kind of game that Cyril is currently playing into, so not too surprising there. Up to the side, CSL going down. Nice fungal on a few Archons, just going to recall them. Is this finally the end of the meters, guys? It might be. They're kind of just sitting here picking off whatever probes they can, and the Void Rays coming over. I think Serral is finally done with the Mutalisks as they will be left to die. I really thought that was going to happen a lot sooner, but to be fair, he got so much more out of them than I expected. He really did find just probably like 30 plus more workers, killed off a Prism. I gave up hope on those Mutalisks way too soon, apparently, so I apologize, Mutalisks. I should have believed in your ability, as the Queens are going to turn, and that's going to be some Adepts drop, and they do shade up straight into Banelings, so that doesn't last very long. A couple of Ultras just coming through, and again, the Archons will make their way to the top side of the map. So in they go to the top left. It's going to pick through this hatchery already, take down that. On the right side, Voids, Tempests, and the Carriers. Gonna grab an Overlord so far. I'm just gonna be seeing a little bit of Ling Bane and Festa coming through the center. Couple of Ultras joined up as well, as our Queens do grab a Zealot up to the top. As you can see, another couple of Zealots just kind of charging forward here. Lings and a little bit of a surround. Those Zealots being cleaned out. I'm also gonna try and take a Radical Nexus on the right side. I wonder if that's, in a way, I almost feel like this Nexus is more chance to be used as just an offensive recall than it does for anything else. Mothership is on the way at the same time. Again, just seeing that Ultralisk production coming through as well. We saw the effect of the Ultras last game and how they could be great at harassing, great at helping to deal with the ground force of the Protoss, and that obviously frees the way for the air army of the Zerg to do so much more, kind of much more freely. I have no idea why this base from Harstem. Just wanted to take an offensive base where he could maybe battery up and take a position, and then maybe take these bases later in the game? Would be my best assumption. Excuse me, if you'd Shinjin's getting picked off as our melee upgrade and our +2 missiles coming through. Corrupt doesn't have Viper falling back toward these Brood Lords and just going to be seeing the High Templar. Still moving around on that right side. Alan gets picked off. We're just going to be seeing our Broodlings still firing forward here. Just going to be seeing the mothership spawns. And it will chase back those few Corruptors as again, we kind of gather back up. Just going to see the Immortal off to the side is on a bit of a journey itself. Almost 20 minutes here on Hardwire as we get to the standoff once again between the two. Serral and Harstem. Definitely putting in the work so far. Serral leads the series 1-0. Winner of this plays Showtime. Winner of that would then play Q in the qualifying match. That is how today looks at the moment. As a couple of Zealots from Harstem escape away up through to the top side. These couple of Queens do get into the wall and will actually block those Zealots off. So nice little play from Serral as he brings them out to the rest of the army. And now Serral's taking this base that a few moments ago Harstem wanted to take himself. And Serral's only this base, I mean, he's got all his bases of his own right now, at least on the way up. He could maybe just take a step and take this base of Harstem. Feels like it's going to be a while until Harstem can do anything there. So maybe that's where Harstem starts to move the, you know, send some run bys to and denies that. Maybe that becomes too much of a difficulty for Serral. As 8k, 6k in the bank. Just going to be seeing 3k, 3k from Harstem. Just going to be seeing a few creep tumors going down as well. Harstem gets 2 more Oracles, just wants to try and keep information with the Revelations. We see the Brewers actually going to make a play down here. I mean, the creep spread is getting very far forward, and you're definitely going to start seeing the Spore Forest getting towards the bases of the Protoss. These Broods are a little bit too far forward, as you have obviously a good amount of Tempest to fight through the Spores as well. Something else you kind of got to watch out for in this. On the right side, that's just a battery farm. I mean, you can actually fight that. It's just batteries and a single cannon. So obviously clearing that out would be nice. Just a lot of minerals of Harstem invested. They could maybe take away as the Tempest get themselves a Broodlord from afar, and at the same time the Ultras are forced back as they get out of the storm, and one of them just about surviving. Harstem just being chipped away at on this left-hand side, and Serral is going to get rid of the Oracles as well, at least one of the Oracles, so just removing some of the Revelation potential. That's going to be more of a rebuild necessary. You're actually going to send these Ultras up this ramp. I mean, you've got batteries, I've got transfusions. It's energy versus energy here as Serral backed off, and just, I mean, the Ultras are derping out because only one of them can reach the Immortal at the moment. So the other two need to start getting to work on everything else, as they are starting to do that now, and they're going to run out of batteries that reach the Immortal in a moment, so it won't last forever, but here comes the rest of the army pulling back to deal with this. Harstem down in supply a little bit right now, has the money, just needs to decide what exactly he wants to build to add to his composition to try and make a move and to try and improve his position here. Come in, we grab an Oracle, just going to be seeing that Ultras continuing through, a couple cannons being picked away at. Additional batteries all coming up, and just going to be seeing our +3 missile attack upgrade on that evolution chamber as well. Corruptors around this right-hand side, just going to be seeing the army setting up over here and thinking about what it wants to maybe do. On the left, we've got a few Spores still pressing forward. Coming out into the center. Oh, it's a nice fungal growth. Going to grab the High Templar, and the Ultras take advantage of it. At the start of the fight here, we're going to start abducting in the Mothership, so that will go down. And smartly, Serral takes this as a chance just to back away. Damage is already done, you know, build up on that. Don't get too carried away right here and now where you might not be able to take full advantage. You know, those time warps are down. We actually saw a game the other day recently where the time warps had the Corruptors stuck, and so the Mothership went down, but it ended up killing like 8 Corruptors because the Corruptors couldn't get away in the time warp. So definitely something to be being somewhat mindful of, basically, in amongst this. It's a dead Oracle, as we otherwise still see the rest of this army moving through. Just on the right side, a few Zealots coming in. 8 drones already going down in this hatchery. Fully surrounded is going to get picked away at as well. So that's going to be the end of this hatchery. The Ultras come in. I mean, nice to get rid of this hatch, but Serral also has the left side base, and again, it's Harstem. I'm surprised he didn't take these bases sooner. Like, he made an effort to get this base, and he didn't make an effort to get the bottom right. You can just see that Serral has so much money in the bank, and Harstem just really has money, but when you compare it to Serral, it's like, oh, you don't really have money. And that's kind of the problem, is Serral's now just making Ling Bane. He's going to keep running by bases, shutting down static defense, and forcing Harstem to rebuild that. But Serral is rich enough to do that, and Harstem's probably not going to be rich enough to get back in it. Into the middle we go. Vesta, Eruptor, Viper, and Broodlord all heading down the bottom left-hand side. Our Ling Bane setting up off to the right. Just going to be seeing a few Head Templars moving through. Here come those Broodlords. Gonna go for a bit of a play down the bottom as well. And Bruce is getting in, and the cannon's already trying to clean up a little bit, as Harstem is looking as though he's going to focus on the center as well. He's just going to give up this base. He has gas left on this base as well. I mean, I can understand wanting to defend the right side on the, the richer bases for now. Maybe that's just the plan. Defend the bases that have more life on them in that bottom right corner. Drones are going down as they were transferring over here. I mean, does that matter for Serral, who has so much in the bank? 10 new Corruptors instantly start up. Also, is going to find another base, so he is getting some good value out of this, and obviously now he backs away after Serral has given up the bottom left side. He obviously brought his army back here. The Broods needed to come back and help out with the rest of this force. 20 drones going down. Not an immediate issue when you've got 14,000 minerals in the bank, but maybe something that comes into play later. For now, the Ling Bane going to come through here and finish this base off. Like I say, you crash through, you shut down the static defense, and it just becomes expensive for Harstem to rebuild that. And that's a really nice fungal on the Void Rays. We're going to get another one to refresh, but now they are splitting. As Harstem is going to just find the rest of this army coming through here. The Storms are good on the Lings. As the Vipers coming through, got Abducts available. Nice little Abduct actually on the Oracle. Oh, he got fungled on the High Templar, and the Broodlings are going to chase for the kill, and the High Templar go down. Oh, man. So the High Templar get fungled and killed by Broodlings. Well, Harstem is definitely having to rebuild a lot of expensive stuff at the moment. He's definitely not having a great time in that regard, as you do see our army coming up here, going to grab a Queen, looking to deny this base. As Serral gets another fungal. That fungal is massive. Do we have a follow-up? All the feedbacks on fungals, on infestors that do not have energy anyway. Oh, another fungal, one more, and he gets a bunch of the High Templar anyway. And a few Broodlings go chasing up the ramp. Another great pick for Serral, and it feels like time after time we're seeing these great picks for Serral and just nothing of comparison from Harstem, unfortunately. We're just going to be seeing some Ling Bane Ultra moving out down to the bottom side. So that's just going to be hanging around over here and seeing what will happen. Seeing if it can make a difference as the mothership is on the way up. Keep Broodlings coming down and seeing what they can get up to, as we've got another set of Oracles just abducted in. We've lost a lot of Oracles this game. 12. Damn. More than I thought. 69 Zealots. Nice. This loss tab equates to a 10,000 resource lost advantage for Serral. That's just how efficient he's been all game long, and that's definitely where the problem is going to come from further down the line. Harstem doesn't have a lot of gas in the bank either, and he's got a little bit of a miss rally here on the gases. Could be doing better, as these batteries in the middle of the map are putting in some healing. Hatchery down here gets cancelled up as Serral just trying to take bases away from Harstem at this stage, but it's not even really essential with how he's trading, to be honest. It's not really 100% necessary. Corruptors and our Vipers move down the bottom side. That's going to be seeing our Broodlords activating onto these few batteries in the middle as well, so picking their way through that. Just going to see the couple of Oracles getting chased away. And momentarily there, those Broods turned around to try and join into the fight. Void Rays and Tempest going to work their way through that hatchery. That hatchery is going to fall. Coming up to our 30-minute marker now, as Harstem's basically fighting to take control of this high ground, right? As the Lings, they stopped attacking. I think that would have been a kill/cancel, but they stopped for a second, so Serral doesn't quite finish it off. Not the end of the world. But Harstem getting access to those bottom right bases, something to be somewhat worried about. Broodlings coming through and starting to work through the cannons. Still firing. The Void Ray is coming back around in this direction. Gonna see the Corrupted Viper again chased away. A couple Ultras back onto that Nexus on the right hand side. Groups coming back around as we have ourselves the standoff continuing. Tempest Carriers and Void Rays making their way around here and just going to be trying to figure out what they can do. On the bottom side, these Broodlords get tagged up by a Revelation. So there's just a few Lings over here. They're going to burrow up. Still yet to see a real kind of larger fight ever break out in this game, right? As Harstem is actually running out of gas, though, so he is slowly running into issues when it comes to gas, but that's where these new bases come to play. He needs to fix his gas mining here. He's not mining properly off any of these gases. If he fixed that, I mean, he'd be in a much better spot because he would have the gas to spend more easily. Another ship gets abducted and killed again. So that's going to go down as we push through, clearing out a lot of the creep spread. The Void Rays, the Tempest, the Carriers making their way up top. Fungal Growth goes down on a couple of the Voids. A bigger fight breaking out here. Serral, or does he want to engage into this? There are so many High Templar. As the Tempest are going to start picking away at the Broodlords as well. Fungal Growth still coming down. And Infestor that was already out of energy goes down. Now more Infestors getting feedbacked. Huge Fungal Growths, but that is pretty much the end of them as this army continues to attack in. Parasitic Bombs going off. Remember, though, that Harstem doesn't really have any rebuild potential. I think Serral is kind of waiting to assess what he actually needs at the end of this fight, and he says, okay, just Corruptors, really. The more Corruptors I have, the more easily I overwhelm this. And again, Harstem does not have the chance to rebuild because he doesn't have any money in the bank. He has no gas. So he can rebuild Zealots. I mean, congratulations. How well is that really going to go for you? Not that well. And he types out GG, and that is Serral taking the 2-0 over Harstem.